What's up, everybody? Welcome into CBS Sports HQ. I am Chris Williamson. He is the one and only Joe Musso. And Joe, you talk about a wild day in sports on Sunday. You had a 5-hole playoff to decide the Rocket Classic. Tarek Skubal going nuts with his arm against the Twins. And could LeBron James be finishing his career somewhere else than LA?
Yeah, I guess that's a Rocket win, a Rocket arm, and a star that might hop one elsewhere. It's my tee box. I'm going golf first. Final round at the Rocket Classic from the Motor City, or 20-year-old South African Aldrich Potgieter. He's your leader by 2 shots, but start feeling the weight of that first career win, and it could go left. Trying to pull off the feet. The pressure proved a bit too much early, a couple of bogeys to start, but Potgieter, we pick him up at the par 4 13th, one off the lead. His approach to 5 feet would make the birdie, then adds another at the next to take the solo lead back. Rookie running into more woes here at the par 3 15th after going long on approach. Sort of just D-cells into that one, 2 putts for bogey, drops a shot, and falls into a 3-way tie for the lead. Jump ahead to the par 5 17th with Chris Kirk in the greenside bunker. Nice bit of handiwork out of the sand. Leaves himself 5 feet as well. A birdie putt here for the solo lead. Kirk got it. 22 under, the new going rate. Backtrack to Max Grazerman at the par 4 16th, trying to stay in the conversation, and a deep birdie putt, well, that would help here from 35 feet. Grazerman at number 16 with a bang. Gets within 1 shot of the lead to 21 under. He goes, stay at 17 with Potgieter. Eagle putt for the solo lead. Just got to keep up the pace, goes begging on the right. Would tap in for birdie, back into a share of the lead. 22 under with a hole to play. Now Grazerman playing alongside Potgieter. 3 feet, never a doubt. Grazerman, Potgieter, and Kirk all tied atop the leaderboard. We head to the par 4 18th. Potsy in for par. Grazerman, a chance to win. A birdie putt for his first career victory. Never even sniffed it. So we are headed to a 3-man playoff, and what a playoff it would be. Beginning on the par 4 18th, not ending there, at least not yet. Kirk waited over 34 minutes between the end of his round and the playoff started, and he's the one with a chance at the first playoff hole. A birdie putt to win? No. 11 feet away, and he leaves it outside. Kirk's dad in attendance, flew in for it, can't believe it. Now Kirk just trying to find some spit because we play on. A second playoff hole. It's Grazerman's turn now, a putt for the win from 12 feet. Also looking for his first career victory. This one close, but they don't give out trophies for close. Kirk now needs this to stay in the 3-man playoff. A par putt, slams it by, still looking for spit. So we lose 1 man, 2 will play on. Potgieter and Grazerman would trade pars at the 3rd playoff hole, so we jump ahead to the 4th playoff hole, the par 5 14th. You'd think advantage Potgieter, both on in 2. The eagle look for the win for Potgieter goes begging as well. So we trade birdies and we play on. A 5th playoff hole matches the longest playoff in the history of the Rocket Classic. 11 is your PGA Tour record. We didn't quite get there. Grazerman at the par 3 15th, the 5th playoff hole, gives it a great run, but again, no trophy here. Now the 20-year-old South African with a chance to win once again. His first career victory 17 feet away. Potgieter with pace. It's jackpots. The 20-year-old, the youngest player on tour, the rookie. Now a winner on the PGA Tour, coming through in the clutch and adding to that long legacy of South African champions on tour. Becomes the youngest South African to hoist a trophy here at just 20 years old as he collects his first and moves up to 36th in the FedexCup standings. Let's get you back out to Detroit, where Trevor Immelman is standing by in the Super Tower. So gracious with his time here, and I know much of his time has been taken already. Aldrich Potgieter, a winner, and we like to say there's no pictures on the scorecard. There's no pictures in the trophy room either. This is a big win for a young man. What do you take away from the last hour of play?
Yeah, this sure was hard fought. I mean, you had a lot of guys that had an opportunity with a few holes to go, and you were wondering who's going to step up and take this. Guys who had opportunities in regulation on the final green. You're thinking about Kirk, you're thinking about Gehman. And then we have this marathon playoff, and it felt like nobody could make a putt out there. But eventually, the young man from South Africa wearing our lucky green, our world champion rugby team, the Springboks, they've won the last 2 World Cups, Moose. That's our colors, that green that he was wearing there today, and it worked out well for him. So proud of him to win for the first time on the PGA Tour. It's going to be a great ride for him from here.
And I certainly enjoy sitting here and watch that pride come off of you in this moment. A proud sporting nation and a proud moment here with everybody staying up to watch Aldrich Potgieter get his first win at 20 years old. We're talking about rarefied air, the 5th international player to collect a win before the age of 21. Kim, Neiman, McElroy, Ballesteros, rarefied air. What sort of affirmation does this give to a young man in the throes of an early career?
Well, it's going to give him a ton of confidence. You know, it's been a bit of a roller coaster of a ride for him this season. Hasn't made many cuts at all. This is just the 5th cut that he has made all season. He had that close call in Mexico and couldn't quite get it done in that playoff. But now, all of a sudden, things start to open up for him. He's going to move inside the top 40 in the FedexCup standings. He's got a legitimate shot now to make it to the Tour Championship. He's going to start getting in all the majors, the signature events next year if he can stay in the top 50 by the end of the playoffs. So he really has a pretty clear runway from here on out. And look, people back home in South Africa have known for a few years that this kid has got a ton of talent, and now the world is starting to see that too.
There's something special about him. Fun to watch play and fun to watch win on this day. I'd also like to offer a tip of the cap to Sellers, everybody back in the truck for keeping the ball in the air here on Sunday. So many players in the mix coming down the stretch, and nobody does it like golf on CBS. Trevor, thank you as always.
Yeah, we love what we do. Thanks, Moose.
What a show out there in Detroit. Took 77 holes, but nobody covers it better than Trevor Immelman and our team with golf on CBS. 5 playoff holes, and he gets it done. Aldi, a winner at the ripe old age of 20.
Potgieter pours it in, and he's got his first PGA Tour victory.
Call it jackpots in Detroit. Further examination with Patrick McDonald and Rick Gehman. Gentlemen, appreciative of your time always. And Patrick, I'm interested in your takeaways here. If only you had some time to mull them over. A 5-hole playoff, 77 holes. It's Aldrich Potgieter with his first career win at 20 years old. What stands out to you?
This guy just continues this path up and continuing his winning ways on every stage that he has played golf. Like you mentioned, only 20 years old, one of the few international players to win under the age of 21. You're paired with Seve, Rory, Joaquin Neiman, Tom Kim in there as well. And this is a guy who won the amateur championship. That's kind of the big deal across the pond, likened to a U.S. amateur. He wins on the Korn Ferry Tour last year. And I really liked how this playoff came together. Not that it took 5 holes, obviously, but that how Aldrich Potgieter, a guy who made a mistake on that hole, not once, not twice, he finally figures out how to hit that 9-iron into the par 3. It's pretty reminiscent of what his rookie year has been like. Think about Torrey Pines in contention there, did not play well in the final group. Think about the Mexico Open, could have won that golf tournament, learned from that, and then finally learned from the mistakes here and finally capped it off with that winning birdie on the par 3.
Well, those are the in-game adjustments that we saw him make basically all Sunday long that a lot of guys on the PGA Tour cannot make. And it doesn't matter if they're 20, 30, or 40 years old. There are guys who just have to fix things after the round, or they've got to get with their swing coach. They've got to grind. And Aldrich does not. He can make those changes on the fly. He can try different things, and he can understand what's going on in the moment. That's a skill. And I'm interested to see over the course of the next 5 years what this looks like for him, because the list that Patrick laid out about young international winners is a bunch of can't-miss superstars, right? That's a list of names that you certainly want to be on, and now we are going to certainly have high expectations for Mr. Potgieter.
In-game adjustments and the ability to trust your game. Went with the same club there at the winning hole as he did prior. When he airmailed the green, took a little bit more off it, left himself under the hole, makes the putt, now a winner on the PGA Tour. And it's sort of been scare a win or miss the cut for Potgieter to this point, Rick. High variation between his outcomes. The recent outcomes have not pointed towards this either. How do you sort of make sense of this season for Potgieter?
That is a lot more common on the Korn Ferry Tour. That's a lot more common for young guys. Guys that punch their ticket from the Korn Ferry Tour to the PGA Tour do it exactly like this. They contend a couple of times, they win one, and they go home early on Friday a lot of the time. And we really only start to see that as a negative when you get onto the PGA Tour and you're playing in a lot of big-time events week in and week out. So I'm not really concerned about this at all. You know, there are guys who would probably tell you they would prefer their results to be like this, you know, to not have to grind 4 rounds every single week to finish T52 when you can just go get your fix in on the weekend and get to the next stop early. But if you're going to play well, you're going to contend to win. So this is not at all a concern. In fact, I think it's a good thing, and the way that projects for a 20-year-old is really, really well.
Yeah, once you got the ceiling figured out, then you can figure out the floor, what finish you want to put on, probably hardwoods. And so I think for Potgieter, right, we think about, just look last week, Tommy Fleetwood. This guy is in like every single tournament down the stretch. And then you have this young stud, 20-year-old Aldrich Potgieter, get the most out of his contention runs. And now all of a sudden he's a PGA Tour winner. He's in the Masters, he's in the PGA Championship, and he somehow has more wins than Tommy Fleetwood, who's Mr. Consistent. And so like Rick said, I think a lot of these guys would prefer getting the absolute most out of their good weeks as opposed to just top 20ing, top 20ing, top 20ing. That will obviously come as this guy matures in age, matures with his game, figures out his wedge play with all that power that he has. But like Rick mentioned, with the ceiling there, it's all upside. And despite not having the consistency yet, you got to love the outlook for the kid.
Excited to see what is to come for Aldrich Potgieter after his first win here in Detroit. What's to come this season also begs question, gentlemen, and I want to go a little bit further down the leaderboard to our highest ranked player in the field in Detroit this week, world number 5, Collin Morikawa. Came in with some questions, and questions levied to him, questions he had back for the media as well, but the question of what his putter would do, where the ball striking was at, is sort of the one that's going to determine the stretch run, and I want to examine some of that. Finishes T8 at 19 under. What do you make of the week, Rick, for Morikawa, and how does he carry that forward to the Scottish, the Open, and beyond?
You said it, Joe. He's the number 5 ranked player in the world. You'd think there was some crisis going on in the Morikawa camp. I think the questions that have that he has thrown out and that we have thrown out are basically all Morikawa self-inflicted. So the good news is on the golf course, he's phenomenal. He gained another 7.5 strokes on approach. He putted to a 0 for the week, which is going to be just fine at a lot of PGA Tour venues. And if he does continue to find some level of success with this new one-of-one prototype putter that he's got in the bag, and as he figures out what his caddy situation is, and maybe as he just takes a chill pill or two, I think Collin Morikawa is going to have like a great run to end the year. Someone's got to get in his ear and remind him that he's the 5th ranked player in the world, and he should be one of the favorites to win every single event he tees it up in for the rest of the year.
I was texting you, Rick. Russ Bus Henley broke this man at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. You think about ever since that close call at Arnie's, Collin Morikawa has kind of gone down a Victor Hovland-like rabbit hole for no reason at all. Like you mentioned, the metrics were great. He was arguably the most well-rounded he has ever been, despite the lull in victories. Those are going to come eventually if he keeps on playing this way. And since then, he goes through not 1, but 2 caddies. It's going to be 3 once he gets a new one. When he goes overseas, he's gone through new putters. He's worked really hard on his swing. He said that he's seeing a draw, not a fade again. We're going through that saga again like he did in 2022. And Morikawa just has to realize, like, hey, I'm still the top 5 player in the world. I am arguably a top 2, top 3 iron player in the world, supremely accurate off the tee. The putts will fall eventually. Just keep on knocking on the door, and eventually it'll open.
If you could win with great, why chase exceptional? I guess that's what makes these guys as great as they are. Collin Morikawa collects his first top 10 since the Players' Championship with a T8 here at the Rocket Classic. 19 under. No wins this season, no wins to show, but perhaps trending back in the right direction with some high-stakes golf still to come. It's time now for your FedexCup update presented by FedEx, where now meets next. And for Aldrich Potgieter, what comes next? Well, it should be exciting. And what comes next will likely include playoff golf, jumping inside that all-coveted top 70 and then some. Following this win, now 36th on the points list. Rick Gehman and Patrick McDonald back in to explore maybe what that means. Patrick, obviously a massive delineation there to get inside the top 70, but to get that far inside, you start thinking beyond Memphis and to other places down the line. Future earning potential certainly getting a bump here for Aldrich Potgieter.
Especially with the way this new FedexCup layout kind of is, the top 50 is the big mark now, because you get into all the signature events in 2026 and you can really dictate your playing schedule. And you have such a buffer with almost guaranteed FedexCup points that it's difficult to fall outside that top 50. You look like at guys like Ricky Fowler, who haven't had great seasons. Other guys of that caliber, they're still well inside the top 70 because of the buffer in signature events. So Potgieter, if he's able to stay inside the top 50, punch his ticket to the BMW Championship, his 2026 is looking awesome right now.
Yeah, and not only does getting into the top 50 get you into all the big boys, but getting into the top 30, this presumably 1 year only of this no starting strokes tour championship format. We'll see what it is for next year, but get yourself into the 30th spot and you have a legitimate chance to win the tour championship. And you know the way they're going to set up Eastlake? It's going to be long. The rough is going to be thick. Aldrich Potgieter's the strongest guy, the longest hitter on the PGA Tour. Couldn't he get hot for 4 days and steal a tour championship away from some of the big names? Maybe not, probably not. But I like the idea of it, and he should be liking the idea of it right about now.
Well, it brings me no pleasure to say that this three-man playoff must also come to an end. Gentlemen, thank you as always.